2/3 of UCP voters support independence. It's not a majority of Albertans, but it's 2/3 of UCP voters. And traditionally, members of a party tend to be more strident, more ideological, more right-wing than the public at large. If this goes to a vote of UCP members, I have a hard time seeing how this is anything but a pretty resounding yes vote.
Well, it's a delicate balance. For them to say you can't have it on at policy, especially with so many having been submitted already, as was scooped, would just be, if you want to see somebody grinning ear to ear, it'll be Cam Davies, because he'll finally have the grouse to say, look, you see, that's the only way for independence. They won't even allow you to discuss it. So you have to.
That's why the UCP has to allow it.
Personally, I think they should allow the discussion. And to speak in my own point of view, I think the members should reject entrenching it into party. But that's where that discussion can come. And then people will read in different things with it.
Why do you, like, you support independence? Why do you think the members should not make that party policy?
Because you make that party policy, and you got to remember, 2/3 of the UCP voters support independence. But this is a very polarizing issue. It's not one where there's much fuzziness with people. It's a deal breaker for a lot of them. And when you got 0% of the supporters of the NDP who support independence, you cut away a potential 20% of your base. And you look at the electoral math, and that next general election can look really, really bad when you have actually carrying independence in your policy set. Again, I think that's where the tactic of being able to say, we're putting it in the hands of Albertans. If they initiate a referendum, they can have that vote. They can make that decision. That's where it belongs, and not within the party, because then you can rip your own party very dangerously, or at least your base of support in a general election. So, I mean, that's just my view on it.
Not every UCP MLA is necessarily pro-independence. So
no, I mean, even if a majority you have a more
if a party makes it policy.
Yeah, and we know MLAs aren't bound by party policy. That's a longer discussion of things, but I would hope there'd be a spirited discussion, and maybe along those lines of, again, I mean, this is as pro-independence as we've ever seen from a governing party in this province, and there's still room to push it further. I was VP policy for the Wild Rose for a number of terms. It's a thankless, miserable job. And, but you do, there's no doubt there's mechanisms to try and get policies to go the way you want them and the way you don't, without, directly interfering or being bad. So with the order you set them in, I don't think they could put that question at the top of the agenda. You're going to put it down a ways where you'll reach it.
No, it's actually, it's determined by how they get ranked at the state level.
Okay.
The party itself does not get determined what order they're in.
Because given the ability, I mean, I would have made question 10, but maybe put 3 concession questions before it that'll make the independence people feel a little happier. We're going to take on a provincial police. We're going to entrench a pension plan. Those sorts of things.
But I think it's determined more by rankings.
Well, and it might be. I'm just speaking from how it was before, but how you try to adjust policy discussions so that maybe by then there's been a lot of debate on it, and members in the room are starting to think on things a little further, that maybe we could put this to referendum rather than entrenching in party policy. But I mean, they can't ignore the question, but I do think it would be very dangerous if they actually put it into party policy. It really could bode poorly in a general election.
I do agree it's politically dangerous. I mean, if that becomes the defining issue of election, it gives the NDP a better shot of winning, because their voters are unified. 95% of NDP voters are Federalists. Only 5% support independence as New Democrats. Whereas with UCP voters, it's a bigger pool of voters. They're more popular, but it's 2/3 in support of independence, 1/3 opposed.
Yeah.
And that is not a marginal question. It's not like what the tax rate should be or what's in the curriculum. It's an existential question.
Yeah. And as an independent supporter, I mean, I want to see a referendum, and I want to see as strong a showing as humanly possible in it. I still think, unless things change pretty dramatically, which is possible in this next 8 months, it's still going to be hard to get over 50% in the referendum. So it better be pretty darn good. But if you come in at 40% and then the NDP get in, it's going to be a decade before we get another vote on it, because the next chance you get, you're not going to get a chance at all with the NDP. I'm just saying, will the members think that strategically? I don't know, but that's the way I kind of look at it.
I don't know. The thing is, you're going to have huge political machines on the Federalist side in this referendum. You're going to have the Alberta NDP. You're going to have whatever small machines are for the federal and the federal NDP and the Liberals, which in a few pockets there's something, but nothing big. But the Conservative Party of Canada is going to do everything it can. They have the most to lose politically with independents.
Well,
They lose their
that's
biggest base
why
of support.
I'm so committed to it being a grassroots individuals or groups and movements rather than trying to get into the
Canada
party.
is going to be here fighting against it, surely.
And they will under any circumstance.
Yeah,
So
and you're going to have the Alberta NDP opposing it. I don't see any chance of winning unless you've got at least one major political machine on your side, and that means and the only one in town is the UCP.
or the machine has to be something that isn't a party.
Sure, the parties have infrastructure. They have hierarchy.
Absolutely.
They've got organization, and the independence movement. I mean, I'm pretty impressed with what some of the folks have done so far, but they pale in comparison to a well-oiled political machine like the UCP or the NDP. You'd be bringing a BB gun to an artillery fight if you're going against the Conservative Party of Canada, the NDP, the federal Liberals, the federal NDP,